For years, my nights were broken. I'd wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, exhausted but unable to sleep. My body felt tired, but my brain refused to switch off. I tried everything: medication, meditation, even melatonin. Nothing worked. Until one simple bedtime ritual, with 3 forgotten ingredients, changed everything. And now, I sleep like I did 30 years ago. Part 1. The Slipping Mind. It started subtly. I'd walk into a room and forget why. Names danced just out of reach. Words I used to wield like tools now slipped through my fingers like water. At first, I thought it was just stress or fatigue. But when I began forgetting the names of people I'd known for years, friends, neighbors, even a distant cousin who'd once lived in our basement for a summer, I knew something was changing. It wasn't just the memory lapses. My mind didn't feel as sharp. Conversations would blur. I'd lose track mid-sentence. Reading, something I used to love, became tiresome. I'd read the same paragraph 3 times and still not grasp the meaning. I was 72. And while many friends chalked it up to normal aging, deep inside, I felt a quiet panic. This wasn't just age. It was something deeper. I could sense my brain fogging, like a glass window slowly steaming up, blurring the world outside. Doctors were kind, but unhelpful. Mild cognitive decline, one said. Another offered puzzles and crossword books. My daughter suggested a memory supplement. I tried them all, but nothing stuck. And every night, I'd go to bed with a heaviness. What if this was the beginning of something irreversible? Part 2. A Forgotten Story. Then, one evening, I stumbled across something unexpected. It wasn't in a clinic or a health article. It was in a story, buried in the corner of a late-night radio program. An old man from a small village in northern Italy talked about how he still remembered the names of his childhood goats at 89. His secret? A nightly ritual passed down from his grandmother. Something so simple, it almost sounded foolish. He drank a warm concoction before bed, not a pill, not a chemical. Just a blend of 3 ancient ingredients, each with a distinct role. Turmeric for inflammation, saffron for mood and brain clarity, and a trace of nutmeg to calm the nervous system. It wasn't magic, he said. Just biology, nurtured gently, night after night. He claimed that in his village, memory loss was rare. People remained mentally sharp into their 90s. They remembered birthdays, historical events, old jokes, everything. They credited it to this nightly habit. I was skeptical. But something about the gentleness of his voice, the simplicity of the idea, the lack of hype, made me pause. I wrote the ingredients down. The next morning, I set out to recreate it. Part 3. The ritual begins. It wasn't hard. I found fresh turmeric root, though powdered worked too. Saffron was expensive, but just a pinch was enough. Nutmeg was already in my pantry. I steeped it all in warm oat milk, added a touch of honey, and drank it slowly before bed. It tasted earthy, calming, and surprisingly pleasant. That first night, I slept deeply, the kind of sleep I hadn't felt in years. Not the restless tossing I was used to. But still, I told myself, it might just be coincidence. Then came night 2. Then 3. After a week, something shifted. My dreams became more vivid. I started waking up with phrases and names already on my tongue. One morning, I remembered a friend's name, someone I hadn't spoken to in months, and called her. We talked for an hour. She said I sounded clearer. It wasn't dramatic. But it was noticeable. My mind felt like it was reawakening, like a library being slowly dusted off after years of neglect. I kept going, night after night, never skipping the ritual. Within 3 weeks, even my daughter noticed. "You're remembering things again," she said. It was subtle, but undeniable. This bedtime ritual wasn't a miracle. It was nourishment. And it brought my mind back to life. Part 4. What changed inside my brain? By the third week, it wasn't just my memory that improved, it was how I felt inside my head. The fog that once settled over me every morning began to lift. I found myself solving word puzzles faster. I remembered what day it was without glancing at the calendar. And perhaps most surprisingly, I was finally finishing books again, cover to cover. But I wanted to understand why. Why did this simple mix of 3 ingredients make such a profound difference in how I thought, remembered, and even dreamed? I began reading. I spoke with a nutritionist. I dug into the research. And slowly, the answer began to form. This wasn't some old village superstition. It was science. The problem wasn't memory alone, it was inflammation. In our brain, inflammation can quietly damage neural pathways responsible for memory, focus, and speech. The hippocampus, the very center of memory and emotion, is particularly vulnerable. Years of stress, processed foods, poor sleep, and aging itself gradually inflame these connections. The result? Word loss. Forgetting names. That foggy, disconnected feeling. And here's where turmeric came in, not just any turmeric, but the compound inside it, curcumin. Curcumin has been extensively studied for its neuroprotective properties. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, reduces inflammation in neural tissue, and even promotes the growth of new brain cells. That's not folklore, that's published in respected journals. Saffron, too, plays a powerful role. Research shows that saffron's active components, like crocin and safranal, help regulate neurotransmitters, especially serotonin and dopamine. That's why saffron isn't just a memory booster, it also improves mood, sleep, and mental clarity. In clinical trials, it has even matched the performance of prescription antidepressants in elderly adults with fewer side effects. And finally, nutmeg, that warming, comforting spice, contains compounds like myristicin that stimulate the central nervous system in small doses. It helps enhance focus, reduces anxiety, and complements the effects of turmeric and saffron beautifully. I realized something then: this ritual wasn't just about remembering names. It was about healing the brain. Calming it. Nourishing it. Part 5. My evening routine, step by step. The process is gentle. You don't need a prescription. You don't need to wait months to feel better. You only need 5 to 10 minutes each evening, and a few ingredients you likely already have or can easily find. Here's what I did. Step 1. I warmed 1 cup of oat milk. You can also use almond or regular milk. Step 2. I added 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder. If you can find fresh turmeric root, grate about a teaspoon into the mix. Step 3. I crushed a few threads of saffron between my fingers and added them in. Just a pinch is enough, don't overdo it. Step 4. I grated a tiny amount of nutmeg, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Step 5. I stirred it slowly, letting it warm, but never boil. Just until steam rose gently. Step 6, optional, I added a 1/2 teaspoon of raw honey for taste and a pinch of black pepper to help turmeric absorb better. I sat quietly. I didn't drink it in a rush. I held the mug in both hands and let my body slow down as I sipped. It wasn't just a recipe, it became a ritual. A gentle winding down. A message to my brain that rest, real, healing rest, was coming. And every night, as I finished the last drop, I felt something settle. My thoughts stopped racing. My body softened. And within 30 minutes, I'd drift off into deep, undisturbed sleep. Part 6. The first big test. But a ritual only matters when real life puts it to the test. Mine came unexpectedly. One afternoon, my grandson burst into the living room holding a photo album from the attic. He was curious. "Grandma, who's this?" he asked, pointing to a photo. A photo I hadn't seen in 40 years. My heart skipped. I expected to draw a blank, like I used to. But instead, the name came to me instantly. "That's Raymond," I said. He was my neighbor. Used to own a bird that spoke 3 languages. My grandson laughed in disbelief. "How do you remember all that?" I smiled, and suddenly realized I wasn't struggling anymore. The hesitation, the awkward pauses, the way I used to scramble for the right word, it was gone. My mind felt sharper. My confidence had returned. Not because of a miracle. Because I gave my brain what it had quietly needed all along. Part 7. Mistakes that can ruin the ritual. You see, most people hear about turmeric or memory-boosting spices, and they rush to the nearest store to buy supplements. Capsules. Powders. Extracts. But the truth is, that's where most go wrong. Why? Because many supplements are stripped of the supporting compounds that make these spices truly effective. For example, turmeric supplements often lack curcuminoids in their active form, and more importantly, they're not paired with the ingredients your body needs to absorb them. You may have heard that turmeric needs black pepper to be absorbed properly. That's true. A compound in black pepper called piperine increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Without it, most of the turmeric passes right through your system unused. But there's more. Turmeric, saffron, and nutmeg work best in the presence of healthy fats. That's why warm milk, especially oat, almond, or dairy milk, makes the perfect base. It helps carry the compounds across the blood-brain barrier. So if you're tossing these powders into water or tea alone, you're losing out on the true benefits. Another mistake people make? Overuse. Nutmeg, for example, is incredibly powerful, but too much can cause dizziness or nausea. Just a pinch is enough. The same goes for saffron, a few threads are all you need. Think of these spices like natural medicine, effective in the right dose, but potentially overwhelming when misused. Finally, timing matters. Drinking this mix in the evening, about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, allows your body to settle into its natural sleep rhythm. That's when the brain begins its nightly cleanup, flushing out toxins, repairing neural pathways, and strengthening memory consolidation. Take it too late, and it may interfere with deep sleep. Take it too early, and you may miss its calming window. So, treat this ritual with respect. Use real, whole ingredients. Measure them gently. Let it be slow and intentional. That's where the real power lies. Part 8. What I noticed after 30 nights. By the end of my first month, something remarkable happened. Not only was I sleeping more deeply and waking more refreshed, but I noticed changes during the day too. My hands stopped trembling when I poured tea. I began remembering entire grocery lists without writing them down. I started recalling not just names, but conversations, exact words from old letters, the color of my grandmother's rug, even a song I hadn't heard in decades. But what touched me most was something smaller. My husband looked at me one morning over breakfast and said, "You're more you again." That made me pause. Because for years, I hadn't felt like myself. I was forgetting birthdays. I was repeating stories. I'd lose track of the plot halfway through a movie. But now, I was present. Not just functioning, but enjoying. And that, more than anything, reminded me that our minds don't need to decline with age. They can be supported. They can recover. The brain is not a machine that breaks down permanently. It's a living, healing organ. And it responds to care. Part 9. Why doctors are now paying attention. At my next checkup, I shared what I was doing with my physician. To my surprise, she didn't dismiss it. In fact, she leaned forward, curious. "Turmeric, saffron, nutmeg, interesting," she said. "Those are all anti-inflammatory. Did you also change your sleep habits or activity level?" "No," I replied. "Just the nightly drink. That's all." She nodded slowly. "You know," she said, "we're starting to realize that inflammation is at the heart of many neurological conditions. Alzheimer's, dementia, even anxiety and depression. It's not just about age, it's about environment, lifestyle, and what we put into our bodies." She wasn't shocked that I was improving. She was just surprised that something so simple was working. Later that week, I found a study from UCLA, one that showed daily curcumin use improving memory and attention in adults without dementia. Another paper from the Journal of Ethnopharmacology showed saffron improving cognitive function in aging adults over just 4 weeks. The science was there, quietly catching up to what traditional cultures had known for centuries. And it struck me, for all our pills, labs, and prescriptions, sometimes, the answer is in the spice rack. Part 10. How to personalize the ritual to your body. No two people age the same way. Just like no two brains function exactly alike. That's why this nighttime ritual isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, it's a starting point. A gentle doorway. But once you step through, it's important to shape it to your body's unique rhythm. Some people are naturally more sensitive to spices. For them, even a pinch of nutmeg might feel too strong. Others may find turmeric slightly bitter or warming in excess. That's why it's wise to begin slowly. Use less, not more. You can always adjust upward, but if you overdo it from the start, your body may resist rather than respond. Start with 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of nutmeg, and 2 to 3 threads of saffron. Blend them into warm milk or a calming herbal tea with a few drops of healthy fat, like coconut oil or ghee. Stir slowly. Sip without distraction. And pay attention. How does your body feel within the hour? Do you feel calm or alert? Does your stomach settle, or does it feel heavy? These are subtle clues. Your body is whispering. You just need to listen. For some people, cinnamon works beautifully alongside turmeric, enhancing blood sugar control and deepening flavor. Others might benefit from adding a dash of ginger to soothe the gut. And if you're particularly anxious before bed, a few crushed fennel seeds can enhance the sedative effect. This isn't just a recipe. It's a relationship with your body, your brain, and your breath. Keep a notebook by your bed. Each night, jot down how the drink felt. Were you restless or calm? Did you sleep through the night or wake up at 3 a.m.? Was your mind racing or quiet? Patterns will appear within days. And those patterns are more powerful than any medical chart, because they come from you. Part 11. How to know it's actually working. It's easy to assume things are improving, or not. But real, lasting change doesn't always show up in fireworks. It shows up in tiny shifts. The kind you might miss if you're not paying attention. That's why I made a short list. I called it, What to Watch For. Do you fall asleep faster? Time how long it takes. From the moment your head hits the pillow to the first feeling of sleepiness. Is it 40 minutes? 20? Over time, this window should shrink. Are your dreams changing? A surprising sign of deeper sleep is vivid dreams. You may remember images more clearly. That's a good thing, it means your REM cycles are stabilizing. Do you feel more refreshed in the morning? Not just awake, but present. Notice your mood within the first 10 minutes of rising. If you're not dreading the day, that's progress. Are you remembering more during the day? Try this, each morning, pick a random word. A fruit, a name, a color. Then at night, see if you still remember it. Track your results. You'll be amazed. Do you feel emotionally steadier? Brain fog isn't just about memory. It's also about mood swings, confusion, or feeling emotionally off. When the brain gets what it needs, emotional balance returns quietly. Like a tide slipping back in. Remember, improvement might look like this. You stop repeating yourself. You follow conversations more easily. You reach for your keys without thinking. You finally remember why you walked into the room. These small victories are the signs that the fog is lifting. Celebrate them. Because they're the steps back to yourself. Part 12. When and how to adjust the ritual. No health journey is static. The body evolves. What works today may need tweaking in a month. That's not failure, it's wisdom. If after 2 weeks you're not seeing results, consider a few adjustments. First, check your preparation. Are you using organic, high-quality spices? Are you pairing them with fats and pepper for absorption? Low-quality turmeric, especially those mixed with fillers, won't work. Neither will powdered milk or sugar-filled drinks. The base matters. Second, consider your gut health. If your digestion is compromised, your body won't absorb nutrients well, even perfect ones. In that case, adding a probiotic-rich food to your dinner, like kefir, yogurt, or a spoonful of sauerkraut, may help your brain absorb better. Third, watch your sleep environment. No spice mix can overpower a blaring TV or a phone screen shining in your eyes until midnight. You need darkness. You need quiet. Let the drink anchor your routine, but don't expect it to perform miracles if the rest of your night is chaotic. Finally, once your memory improves and your sleep deepens, don't stop the ritual. Instead, evolve it. Rotate in other brain foods like ashwagandha, holy basil, or reishi mushrooms. Try different teas, like chamomile, passion flower, or lemon balm. Reduce the dose slightly, but keep the rhythm steady. Let this ritual become like a song you hum every night before sleep. Familiar. Comforting. Personalized. Yours. Because the best medicine isn't just what you take. It's what you practice, gently, consistently, with care. Part 13. The science behind turmeric and curcumin. There's a reason turmeric is called liquid gold in traditional healing. For centuries, Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine have used it not just for joint pain or digestion, but specifically for brain balance. Today, modern science is catching up, and what it's finding is remarkable. The active compound in turmeric is curcumin, a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. But its impact goes far beyond calming swollen joints or easing stomach upset. In multiple clinical studies, curcumin has been shown to increase levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a key protein responsible for helping your brain grow new neurons and maintain existing ones. Think of BDNF as the miracle grow for your memory and focus. Low BDNF is linked to brain fog, depression, Alzheimer's, and age-related memory loss. But curcumin helps reverse that. It essentially tells your brain, keep growing, keep adapting, don't give up. In a landmark study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry, researchers tested curcumin supplements on adults aged 50 to 85 who were experiencing mild memory complaints. After just 18 months, participants not only had better memory scores but also showed less buildup of amyloid and tau proteins in brain scans, two major markers of Alzheimer's disease. What's even more exciting? These results weren't seen in people who took placebo pills. Only those who took curcumin showed such changes. Their recall improved, their attention got sharper, and their emotional regulation improved too. This means curcumin doesn't just help you remember where you left your glasses. It may actually protect your brain's architecture. It may slow or even reverse the mechanisms behind cognitive aging. But there's a catch: curcumin is notoriously hard to absorb. Which is why, if you want results, you must combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, a compound that boosts curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Healthy fat, like coconut oil, ghee, or whole milk, since curcumin is fat-soluble and needs a lipid base to travel through your bloodstream and cross the blood-brain barrier. This isn't just folk wisdom, it's biochemistry. When you combine turmeric, fat, and black pepper into a calming bedtime drink, you're giving your brain what it needs to cleanse, repair, and regenerate while you sleep. Part 14. The secret power of nutmeg and saffron. Turmeric might be the star, but its companions, nutmeg and saffron, carry their own ancient secrets. And science is now beginning to recognize their profound effects on the aging brain. Let's begin with nutmeg. It's not just a cozy spice for winter drinks. Nutmeg contains natural compounds like myristicin and masalignin, which act as mild sedatives and cognitive enhancers. In small doses, nutmeg helps quiet overactive thoughts and supports neurotransmitters that regulate sleep and mood. Traditional healers knew this. They often recommended nutmeg to people experiencing anxiety, irritability, or chronic insomnia. It soothes the nervous system without leaving you groggy the next day. But here's the key: more is not better. In high doses, nutmeg can be toxic or cause hallucinations. That's why the ritual we've created uses only a pinch. Enough to calm the mind. Not enough to disturb it. Now to saffron, one of the most prized spices in the world, and not just for its color or price. Saffron contains crocin and safranal, two compounds with powerful antidepressant and neuroprotective effects. Multiple studies, including trials published in journals like Neuropsychiatric Disease and Treatment, have found that saffron can improve mood, enhance memory, support learning, reduce symptoms of depression and cognitive decline. In fact, saffron has been found to be as effective as certain prescription antidepressants, but with fewer side effects. What makes it so powerful? It protects against oxidative stress and inflammation in the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain. It also boosts dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters that help regulate mood, focus, and emotional clarity. For older adults, this means saffron may help protect not only your memory, but your sense of joy and presence in the moment. And when you combine saffron with turmeric and nutmeg in a warm drink, the synergy is extraordinary. You're not just drinking a spice mix, you're giving your brain a 3-part repair crew. 1 clears inflammation. 1 calms the nervous system. And 1 lifts your mood while protecting your neurons. Part 15. Why this ritual works better than pills. In our fast-paced world, it's tempting to look for quick fixes. A capsule here. A tablet there. Something to shut off the symptoms without addressing the deeper cause. But this ritual is different, for a reason. When you create a nightly habit rooted in real foods and spices, you're giving your body something recognizable. Something it knows how to absorb, metabolize, and trust. That's why many people feel calmer just by preparing the drink. The smell of warming milk. The golden color of turmeric. The quiet time it creates before sleep. It's not just what you're drinking. It's how you're drinking it. You're telling your brain, it's safe now. You can relax. You don't have to keep fighting to stay alert. You can rest. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state that primes your body for deep healing. No pill does that. And when you combine this calm with nutrients proven to enhance memory and neuroplasticity, that's where the magic happens. No racing thoughts. No restlessness. Just stillness. And over time, better recall, improved clarity, and sharper thinking. Best of all, this ritual empowers you. You're not outsourcing your health. You're reclaiming it. Night by night, sip by sip, memory by memory. Part 16. Her mornings transformed, and so did her mind. The changes didn't come overnight. But within the first week, something inside her began to shift. She no longer jolted awake at 2:30 a.m. with her heart racing and mind spinning. The first few nights, she noticed her breathing slowed. Her body felt warmer, calmer, like someone had flipped a switch deep inside her nervous system. By the second week, she was sleeping through the night. No interruptions. No tossing and turning. Just deep, uninterrupted rest that left her waking up not only rested, but restored. Her mornings began to feel different. Brighter. Lighter. There was no fog to fight through. She didn't need that second or third cup of coffee just to feel human. She remembered the names of old friends. She could finally recall what she walked into the kitchen for. And even her family noticed. "You're sharper these days," her daughter remarked. "You seem more like yourself," said her husband with a smile. It wasn't a miracle pill. It was consistency. Her nightly turmeric mix had become a ritual, not just for sleep, but for healing. She looked forward to it. Craved it. It was her body's signal that the day was done, and restoration could begin. She even added her own touches, sometimes a bit of cinnamon, sometimes a few drops of vanilla. She called it her golden hug. And every sip felt like exactly that: comfort, warmth, and peace. And in that peace, her mind found clarity. Part 17. The ingredients and how to make the ritual work for you. If you're wondering how to start this ritual for yourself, here's what she did, and what you can do, too. Every night, about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, she would prepare this drink. Golden Bedtime Elixir. 1 cup of warm full-fat milk, dairy or plant-based, but make sure it has fat. 1/2 teaspoon of organic turmeric powder. A pinch of black pepper, just a pinch is enough. A pinch of ground nutmeg. A pinch of high-quality saffron, or 1 to 2 strands soaked in warm milk for 10 minutes. Optional, 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon or a few drops of pure vanilla extract. Optional, 1 teaspoon of raw honey, only after the drink has cooled a bit, never boil honey. Instructions. Gently warm the milk in a small saucepan. Do not boil. Stir in the turmeric, black pepper, nutmeg, and saffron. Whisk well until fully blended. Remove from heat, let it cool slightly, and add any optional ingredients. Pour into your favorite mug. Sit down. Sip slowly. Breathe. Let the act of preparing it become part of your wind down. Put away your phone. Dim the lights. Let the scent tell your body, it's time to rest now. Make it your ritual. Make it your medicine. Let the science work in silence, while you sleep. Part 18. A new beginning, every night. She never imagined that such a simple change would make such a profound difference. But when you support your brain with the right ingredients, something magical happens. Sleep deepens. Memory improves. Focus sharpens. And most importantly, hope returns. It wasn't about reversing age. It was about reclaiming vitality. We often assume that forgetfulness, poor sleep, or mental fatigue are just the price of getting older. But science, and stories like hers, prove otherwise. Your brain is still alive. Still hungry for nourishment. Still capable of growth, repair, and transformation. And this ritual? It's not about turmeric, or nutmeg, or saffron alone. It's about telling your body, you are still worth caring for. You are still capable of change. So tonight, as the world grows quiet, give yourself a gift. Turn off the noise. Make your golden drink. Take that first sip with intention. And know this. You're not just soothing your nerves. You're giving your brain what it's been waiting for. Not medication. Not distraction. But real nourishment. Night after night, moment by moment, neuron by neuron. Because deep inside you, the part that remembers names, the part that dreams, the part that shines. It's still there. And now, it's waking up.